Welcome to the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education podcast series. I'm Dan Manson, and it's my pleasure tonight to have as my guest Donna Woods. Donna is a CTE, ICT, and cybersecurity instructor with Canyon Springs High School and is the California statewide community manager at California Cyberhub. Donna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Manson. It's my honor and privilege to be here. I am so grateful.
I've had the pleasure of hearing you speak at events, most recently at the 3CS conference up in Portland. You are amazing in terms of what you do, but also the way you talk about it. So you have tremendous passion for what these kids can do outside the classroom. But you've been a teacher for many years, right?
Yes, that's correct. And thank you. That's very kind of you. I've been in the education at the high school for 32 years and a high school educator for 21 of those years. I also teach at the adult level. The students are not only passionate, they fuel my passion. Their stories and the efforts that they put forth and seeing them achieve something they never thought was possible is so rewarding. And I love what these students put into it. All of them. You can't help but be passionate about it and work harder for them because they give so much.
How did you get started with the extracurricular activities, specifically CyberPatriot, the STEM events, the cyber competitions? How did you start becoming involved and what drew you to that?
Well, initially, I came into education through CIS. I was teaching computer information systems, and then GIS, which is geographic information systems or geographic technologies, with ESRI, which is the Environmental Science Research Institute out here in the Inland Empire at Redlands. And through our state of education up in California and our director of education over ICT, they were looking for ways to bring in more STEM and particularly cyber programs to the high schools. And so when we were up there at an educating conference for careers, they pulled some of the CIS and ICT instructors together saying, how can we take what's at the universities and the colleges and begin bringing this into the high school classroom? So our first look was to how do we write the curriculum? And so we began writing the curriculum through research, and we wrote some UC A to G curriculum modules that were accepted through the state so that the students can receive articulated credit and then now into dual enrollment. So that was how we were introduced to it. And we initially started it on our campus as an after-school club program. And now it's a full course 3-year pathway for the students so they can receive industry certification, articulated credits, dual enrollment, and hopefully go into the full career pathway so they end up college and career ready.
What drew you to CyberPatriot?
Oh, I loved the organization, their planning, and also their passion and zeal for the students. The corporate sponsors that they get to stand behind these students are industry experts, such as, Northrop Grumman, Cisco, Facebook, all the industries that are coming out, that know that cyber impacts every industry sector. So they've understood the importance of investing in these students at a young age, and that was the biggest draw, that they were willing to invest in students and share an unknown and create a new career opportunity, create a fun competition, an academic competition that really challenges the students and give them something competitive-wise where they're on the same plane as any of their other athletic competitors at their schools. So our football players look up to us, all the other competitive sports. I have many basketball players, softball players, football players, tennis players that also serve on my CyberPatriot team. So they understand the value of doing it just like an academic sport. And they made the competition fun like that and very challenging across the nation. So they're well organized, and they also provide a lot of good curriculum tools and resources so that if a teacher or an educator or a coach, even a community coach, might come in from the community to host a team or a club, they don't need a lot of background experience. They really do give you tremendous support and information so that you can start your club team. So this is even great for parents and community members. It doesn't only reserve to educators, and that's what we like to share at California Cyberhub, is that we want community members involved in too. We want the parents, much like if you were coaching an AYSO soccer team, it's the same concept. We need parents and mentors and coaches, and it can be anyone in the community.
You do know that what you're saying is music to my ears. My passion and my addiction is what kids can learn through cyber competitions. I believe every school, every college, every high school, every middle school should have cyber teams, and it should be a recognized sport. So I really do appreciate you finding that same passion.
Absolutely. You're leading the way, and we will get to CIF, which is the California Interscholastic Federation. I believe they will see the value in this too. The students absolutely love it. Their parents love it. They go home. Not only are they learning the mode of competition and the whole gaming part of it, which is fun, but it's teaching them cyber principles that they can apply immediately at home and protecting themselves and their family. And as well as having this fun team that they become a family on their campus or their community with the team members that they work with, because they have to collaborate with them. So it's giving them amazing critical skills, critical thinking, collaboration, team building, sharing, research. And this is what employers are looking for. So you're creating this really well-rounded individual and capturing them at a young age and letting them know the importance. And it brings up their maturity level. But more importantly for the students, it really brings up their self-efficacy. Their confidence levels just increase tremendously over a period of a year or a competition season.
I spent some time with Cisco a few years ago and came up with a 4-step way of building your CyberPatriot program. And I used the acronym CSTP. And Cisco calls C coach, but I call it champion, because I do believe that it's important to have a champion at the school. It doesn't necessarily have to be a teacher, but someone at the school has to be a champion for what kids can do outside the classroom. You are clearly one of the top champions I've ever had the pleasure to talk to. But the next one is the support. S is support. Mm-hmm. And you've done an amazing job of obtaining support. So tell me the next step. Tell me, how is it that you're able to develop support for the program? I know California Cyberhub has been instrumental for you, but besides being the champion at the school, how do you pull in the support for the program?
And well, as you mentioned, California Cyberhub is amazing as it's taken off this year, because that's a collaborative effort from everyone throughout the state, from K-12 to the California community colleges, our state universities, our UCs, our government partners, who would even be your local, from your city halls to your assembly members, and then of course your businesses, both in the public and private sector. So the way we want to go out and model that, how we incorporate more support for them, is first we go out to educate them, no differently than what we would do with our students in the classroom or for that community group. We go out and we share some of those PowerPoint presentations. We show them the value of cyber and how it impacts every industry sector. We show them in their own metro areas, and you can get that on cyberseek.org, what the job demand is, the labor market demand, and then how many jobs and what those jobs pay. So as your citizens, and when you're presenting to these groups and to the businesses and to your legislators what's happening, they see that there's a clear need, and then we give them an opportunity. This is how you can fill this need. Look at what we're creating in these for these students and these teams. So you have to show them the interconnection of how it impacts business, how the business of cyber impacts the economy, both negatively and positively, and why we're at a 0 unemployment rate, which is very appealing to parents. And then the big other push is that these students, all in large, can go to college absolutely free. There has been so much funding to come at them. There's numerous ways for them to attend and numerous grants, because the demand is out there, the labor market demand. So businesses, and again, this collaborative effort that we've seen of this network at California Cyberhub is really pulling together. So the support starts at the foundational level, that you have to educate them on what is going on, what is the need, and how do we fulfill that need. And when they see those connectors, then they usually come right behind it and get very excited to be a part of such an amazing work going on in California.
The last 2 steps with Cisco were P for practice and T for team. So form the teams and then practice, practice, practice.
Right.
You have some stories I know that you'd like to share about teams and students that you've had over the past several years. Could you talk a little bit about what you've seen develop through your program in terms of some really cool individuals and cool teams, and perhaps some of the input you received from parents?
Oh, absolutely. This has been the most rewarding part of coaching these teams is that I come from an area where we're a lower socioeconomic, we're a Title I school, and most people would normally think that to be part of an academic STEM competition team, you would have to be an AP student or a high honors or GATE student. And that wasn't the case. When we started our program and club, we said all students were welcome. And so in that, we received a very diverse groups of students, diverse in their socioeconomic background, diverse in their ethnicity, and diverse in their academic ability. And what we saw forge was amazing. What came out of it is that the students found their own strengths and weaknesses and then helped work with each other to build on their strengths and to compensate for each other's weaknesses so that they could help one another, thereby mentoring one another. So students that usually felt maybe disenfranchised from a school or a social group, all of a sudden there was equity, equability among all of them. There were no more of those dividing lines. You were a team, and regardless of how you came into the picture, there was a balance, and it was so wonderful to see them. And students said, I now feel a part of something, and I really feel valued, and I'm learning. And that brought about amazing. One of my favorite stories that I've seen over and over again is any of my special ed students who are told often throughout their academic span of schooling from elementary to middle school that they're never going to amount much more beyond this and a certain status quo or a goal that's given before them. Never in their wildest dreams did they think they could be part of something like this. To be a part of something like this, and then a team that goes on to state and to medal, and to have your peers who may be an AP student championing you and celebrating you when before you've always been labeled just as special ed. And one of the greatest stories was just this past year, our students were going for their IT fundamentals, which is a worldwide international certification. It was part of our final exam in the class. And I had 3 special ed students that I don't know if I can do this, Mrs. Woods. And I said, well, we've been through all the competition. We've worked all year long. We're going to do study groups. And everybody did the study group as if we were in a team preparing for the competition. Not only were these students successful, and I'm going to cry, they received some of the highest scores. And literally when they saw their exam scores come through and that, yes, they received a worldwide certification from CompTIA, they literally jumped out of their seats. They were all high-fiving each other. And when you can see a whole classroom, regardless of their academic abilities, achieve something like that together and celebrate each other, it's all worthwhile. I can't put it into words, and I'm going to cry. I'm sorry, but it's like that their parents came back to me crying, like, I never thought my son or daughter could achieve this. I never, thank you for providing this opportunity. And all I could say is, I didn't provide it. It's all the network of supporters, all the people who believed in creating the program and the pathways, everybody at California Cyberhub who gives up their time and their resources and creating images, and all the businesses who have backed us and sponsored all that we're doing. It's that team of people, everybody, including yourself, people have mentored and paved the way that made it possible for me to get to see that student jump up and cry and their parents say thank you. It's worth its weight more than gold, and it's so exciting. I can't wait to see what these students do in their careers, and I love when they report back. That's just one story.
One of the coolest things for me is that I'm in a field where the need grows every year. So if I was trying to train basketball or football or baseball athletes, I would know at most I'd get a few of them playing college ball and maybe 1 or 2 of them that could make a living at it. But we're working with kids going into a field, if they choose to go into the field, where the gap between supply and demand grows every year.
Right.
And I really believe that these competitions can unlock a passion more than just taking a class. I think it's hard sometimes for kids taking a computer science class or taking a class in basic IT to really get excited about what you can do in this field. But if you play in a competition, especially a national competition, then it starts to get your wheels going, because in a competition, we stretch you a lot more than what you would do reading a book. And these kids love to play competition, then they want more and more, and then you turn them around, you put them through the basics of CompTIA, you start them down a pathway, and at that point, they're driving themselves.
Absolutely, I agree. It was the competition that gave them the drive to even believe that they could do the industry certification. You know, that came at the end. So the competition all year long is what gave them the confidence to know they know this stuff. When you're put into it real time in a 6-hour academic competition and you have to solve the vulnerabilities and you have to use your critical thinking skills, and you're under that pressure to do it, they did amazing. And so that's where the confidence comes from, is absolutely in the competition. So that's why we said it can be a community member, it can be a community club team. It's going to build them up so much. And like you said, we're normally in the athletic sphere, when you have only 1% that can go to the pro level, this is open-ended for any student at any age, whether they're in a community group or in a class or an after-school club. Being involved in one of these competition teams, you can forge for yourself an amazing career pathway, a future college pathway into a field that is very lucrative. But more importantly, if you have a passion to do what you do, then you love your job and you get paid to do what you love and really make a difference in the world. And I think that's what's been appealing to so many students involved in this competition, is that they actually see the value. And again, another great story of one of my students. I've had a student who came up, they were on welfare while they were in school here, and their family was too. He ended up going up to the program, getting a full scholarship at Cal State University San Bernardino, being involved in their cyber program, graduating with them, going through the cyber core, so they also paid for his master's, being placed at the Department of Homeland Security. He now then paid for his parents to finish college, and now one of them came back and his parents are teaching with our school district. So it changed his entire family, and they were able to buy their very first home ever. And to see that type of change, because one passionate student grabbed a hold of it and just grabbed that golden bell, that golden ring, brass ring, I should say, to just grab a hold of it and run with it, and then their parents get excited about it and support it. It's changed their whole family dynamics in such a positive way. It's been amazing.
That is a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing. Can we talk a little bit about how this is being scaled? Because you're involved in a lot more than what you're doing at Canyon Springs at this point. You're the statewide community manager for California's Cyberhub. Can you talk a little bit about what Cyberhub is doing in this area?
Wow, it's amazing. Again, the way it started, California Cyberhub, it's focused on a whole career, a cyber career pathway, starting with our vision and mission, and is it that we have an equitable platform where all students, whether in the community-based club or group or competition team or a classroom, can be involved and get involved with it. So we want to focus their interests while they're in the community through K through 12, and then our objective then is to help forward them into the community college or to the CSUs and UCs, so that we're developing a future of cyber professionals by highlighting and leading that whole pathway for them from K through 12 onto college and then to the workforce. So again, you have the California Mayor Cyber Cup that we do each spring, and that's held throughout the 12 regions in California, where community and school teams can come to compete in that. And then the winning team gets to present a very nice cyber cup to the mayor of their city. And oftentimes then those teams can go on and compete in the CCIC at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And so you're gearing up not just from the CyberPatriot competitions, but going from securing our e-city competitions or any number of cyber competitions that are out there, and welcoming them to come and compete, like in the California Mayor's Cyber Cup. We also do a lot of training for new coaches and teachers. So again, it doesn't have to be just teachers, but we offer free training to any new coaches in the area. So if a community member or a parent wanted to get involved and become a coach and actually have their own team, they could come to one of our coaches training, and we would give them all the resources, support materials, and all of them are free and available at www.ca-cyberhub.org. That's our website. They can see all the links there. All their teams and students can register for free. We work with the Girl Scouts. We are training a lot of the Girl Scouts leaders to help with them. We work with Gen Cyber. We work with GEMS, which is Girls Excelling in Mathematics and Successfully. We also work with Toby West, her Cyber Girls, Cyber Tech Girls. So anything to help promote it out in the community, we want to come behind them and support them. We want to partner with them to show what we're doing in any way that we can help for the good of Cyber California. And then the big push this year was also to help get some grants for getting the voucher programs so that students could get industry certifications without paying $1,000 for the course or $200 for the exam. So we partner with our Chancellor's Office and the Doing What Matters for Jobs and the Economy, and we work very closely with the Deputy Sector Navigators throughout each of the regions in California so that when we're working with funding or looking at grant funding or seeing which region and community has the greatest need, that we can come in there and serve them. And that's our whole platform, is that we are here to serve. Every region is very different. Every region's needs are different. And we're not coming in to say, this is how you have to do it. We're coming in to showing what can we do to support your efforts. What can we do here to help you? We want to give you all of our tools or resources, whatever you need to run it and do it the way your region that works best for you and your demographics and your community and the businesses in your community and those industry needs. We are here to support you. And that is what's so unique about Cyberhub. And I am so honored to work with our team and people throughout the state, is that they are passionate about serving, and it's a leadership through service. And these people work so hard, the entire team, to make a difference here in California. I am absolutely privileged to work with them and being associated with them. From all of our advisors to anybody that creates the images, it's constantly about, again, serving the greater need and the greater good of Cyber California.
It is great to work with people with a shared passion.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we support one another, we drive the vision, you know, the mission and vision goes forth, and it's really neat to see what we can do in the different regions and communities as we're serving them to help meet that specific, maybe special need. Maybe they have a need for expansion, maybe they need help with the grants, maybe they need to connect with their deputy sector navigator, find how can we get it started in our school if they have nothing, or how can we write curriculum to start this. And we connect them with one another and other successful programs throughout the state. What's been amazing, Dan, is that just this year at the 3CS Summit up in Oregon, which is the Community College Summit, several other states were coming to us, to our table and to our presentation saying, wow, what you guys have done in California, the whole group of people, not just, you know, the immediate team, but everybody throughout California, they said, how did you get the network to actually start talking and communicating with each other? Because what we saw is there were a lot of silos in California of great things happening, but no connection or network. And that's the vision we saw. We have to bring all of these entities together. And that's what we spoke of earlier, from the K-12 to your legislators, to your businesses, to the colleges, and get them at the same table. And so when we were at the 3CS Summit, several states throughout the United States said, we want you to help us model this now in our state. And what an honor that is that, wow, when you see people coming together and doing the right thing and bringing all their strengths together, for one common goal in a unified vision, great things happen. And that's been amazing. So we're leading the way for California, but that's to all the people that have been, you know, all the things we just mentioned. That's because of the effort of passionate people working together to make something wonderful happen.
I want you to spend a minute talking about an award that you recently received, the Cyber Elite Reward for Moreno Valley Unified School District. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We thought when we wanted to start this program, we went, you know, we researched things when we were starting the cyber program. We looked at LA Unified's Beyond the Bell, great programs like at Orange County, at Allen Stubblefield, and thought, how can we do it for our school to make sure, in our district and our community, to make sure students could feel involved? So instead of having different names for different teams at all the different schools, we're under Moreno Valley Unified just as a Cyber Elite teams, meaning anyone that comes to be a part of it throughout the community can be part of this team and grow and learn with it. And what was happening is that we were watched through our county. They have what's called the Model of Excellence in Innovation Award. They award once a year to just one or two programs in all of Riverside County. our superintendent of our school district said he'd like for us to apply, even though we were just 3 years young. This is only our 4th year into the season, and we had data about the success of our students that we said, okay, we will go ahead and submit the application. And we only found out last week that we did win the Model of Excellence in Education and Innovation Award, and our students and teens will be honored with that in October out in Palm Springs, the convention center, in front of about 5,000 educators, administrators, and business leaders throughout Riverside and San Bernardino counties. So the students were thrilled, and the data speaks to itself. Part of the award, they look at your data. We have in those 3 years 100% graduation rate from all our students. We have 100% placement rate with students going in either into a community college, a CSU, or a UC. For those students that were our juniors and seniors that we already have students that are successfully completers at the college. And it's also brought down a lower, because of the expectations that we have of our students. We have any low referral, low behavioral issues, if at all, because the students know they want to be a part of the program. So we've seen a big turnaround, and that's a good reason why we've won the Model of Excellence. They've seen the impact it's had on students' lives and overall and in their families. And that's why they said we were honored with it for all the number of good things that are coming out of it. But again, we couldn't have, even though we're honored to receive that, that became part of, because of all the amazing support we've had from other programs that have been doing this for years that were willing to share information with me and with our district. Other coaches who had already been doing this, 7 to 10 years, who were willing to share. Coastline Community College, when I took my students down there and they imparted their knowledge, coaches like Alan Stubblefield, Irvin Lemes, Sean Manson. There were so many people that just reached out, all the teens from LA Unified School District and Beyond the Bell, and being part of it. Again, it was a sharing of resources. And so all of them can take part in winning this award too, because they've been absolutely a huge part of it. It's never done alone. It's by great team efforts.
It is great to see what you've done. It's great to see what your partners have done. It's great to see what California has become. So tell me, 5 years from now, what would you like to see? What's on your wish list on where you would like to be and where you would like to be with your partners 5 years from now?
5 years from now, wow. That's a great question, Dr. Manson. There are so many great things that we envision. We would really love, I'll break it down into 2 segments here. First, for our community and our immediate school district, I would love to see this going out to numerous community boys and girls clubs. We have a high foster population here, foster youth. I would love to see them engaged and involved, and so that they can feel a part of something, because it's very difficult going from foster program to foster program or being in the social system. You don't have a family. In cyber, you can. I'd love to see it expand to more community outreach for that, so that we can bring them in to the Boys and Girls Clubs, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, any number of outreaches. I would really love to see that, so go beyond the school. And for all those teams, and I would love to absolutely see it be an e-sport, competitions in big arenas, just like they pay for the pro sports. We need to see this. This is very exciting. It's engaging. And we see that now with the video gamers getting out there and filling up arenas. This can be on that same platform. And yet we're filling a big industry need. So you can have businesses there and celebration, commercial sponsors, and these students go right into that amazing career pathways and colleges. So I would love to see it go that as far as this arena. As far as California Cyberhub, there are so many avenues we're going into, so many projects we're working on right now, and that all tie into that. So expanding our really big outreach is trying to reach those underrepresented populations in those rural areas that might not have access to something like this, that we can get it in their hands, whether it be through cloud-based support, whether it be getting industry out to them. That's our big reach. We know we can do it in the larger urban cities. We know there are great things already happening there, whether it's in Silicon Valley or the Bay Area, Los Angeles, but we want to reach those underrepresented populations that normally would not have access to this. Because when we do, then we're going to really be able to meet that supply that we need to meet for the labor market demand. We're falling way behind, and we have to. We don't want to throw out any of our population of having the possibility or the opportunities. So I really see that. And I would love to at some point, if it's meant for me to leave the classroom, I would love to serve in the role for California Cyberhub in California as just being the cyber, community manager and educator that goes out, and we're passionate about that and bringing in, raising up businesses and helping them understand the demand. So just as the, educational coordinator, manager, director for them, so that we can bring these entities together. I'm passionate when we go speak. I'm passionate when we get to share it. I appreciate the platform they give California Cyberhub and the opportunity. We're going to be presenting at the STEM conference in Long Beach. We're presenting back up in Sacramento at the Cyber Summit. We're presenting out in the desert at the CCAOE. So we are so grateful to these doors that are opening, that we can only see good things coming from it. But definitely to reach those students and populations and community members we're not reaching, to help give them the same opportunity and to keep serving the greater good, and to keep expanding our team. So if the visionaries that are hearing this program are out there, we welcome you to come join us. Businesses, we need you. We need your support. We need the funding. We need to have you guys join in our vision. And if there's students out there that have been in programs and college students now, come back and mentor. Pay it forward. Feed the next generation. It's important.
Donna, thank you so much. You are a true champion. I think what you've been able to do is a model for the rest of this country, and I really do hope that you're able to spread the word and influence on a national level. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you. It was such an honor, Dr. Manson. Thank you for having us. Truly, we appreciate it. So I appreciate it as an educator. I appreciate it for California Cyberhub. Thank you. And thank you for partnering with us. You've been amazing. You're one of my mentors, and I value so much and appreciate all that you've done for California and this nation, that we just keep growing together. So thank you. It's been
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education podcast series.